policymakers and government leaders, experts, and the representatives of civil society as well. It is truly an honor and privilege to stand before you today as a representative of civil society in our country, and participating to this full public inquiry for the estimated initiative of parliamentarians for fossil-free future. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share our collective analysis, ideas, and unwavering commitment to transition towards alternative models and development in response to the immense challenges we face in today's world. First, I would like to emphasize that I consider this opportunity, especially this one, to recognize this event at G7 as particularly useful for broadening the basis for dialogue and participation in a forum such as the G7 that today represents no more than 40% of the world economy and just over the 15% of world's population, so then cannot take decision for everyone. And the presence here today of an important group of representatives from countries outside G7 and in a multiplicity of actors is the only direction we need to go in order to solve the complex challenges we are all called upon to deal with. So we can't escape from being together in this aim. Among these, the tribal environmental crisis is more than ever the terrain where social, economic, and cultural aspects come together. So that in the discussion that follow, we have to take in consideration the interweaving of the three aspects. And the inseparable connection between human rights and natural rights underscores the huge need for justice that recognizes our interdependency and the imperative to prioritize the well-being of all living beings without perpetuating inequality. As we delve into the rich program of the discussion and insight planning for today, I remark the urgency to embrace the radical and urgent choices that transcend conventional thinking and business as usual. It's not the time to carry out activities decision in the same way we did till now. The current crisis scenario demands ambitious and decisive action from G7 countries, putting together vision but also concrete commitments. This is what we ask from the G7. The environmental challenges we face, to which G7 countries have contributed most, we have to say, from climate change to biodiversity loss to the devastating impact of pollution, require immediate and concrete steps towards a sustainable future. Instead, the result of European elections, the forthcoming election in UK and the USA, risk delivering a scenario in which is G7 wait and see, with a little impact. So this is the risk, and we hope that this will not occur. In this context, we wish that the Italian presidency of G7, so we ask to our president, blustered by the recent European election, demonstrate the leadership to guide G7 in taking a decision that citizens expect, with attention to avoid any potential backsliding on both G7 previous commitments and that the Ministerial Conference on Energy, Climate, Finance and Nature stated. We call upon the G7 governments to take take cold action on several crucial fronts. Firstly, we must swiftly move away from fossil fuel, the reason why we are here, by implementing the agreements set for COP28 and committing the concrete plans to limit global warming to 1.5 centimeters, such as issues the emission reduction plans by the end of the year. It includes a clear timeline for phasing out coal in 2035, reaffirming without ambiguities and loopholes from the direction outlined at the G7 Climate, Energy and Environmental Minister in Bari, and developing action plans and transition away from the fossil fuel, including natural gas. The latter, the natural gas, cannot be accepted as so-called transitional fuels. We should be very clear on this, such as other technologies like biofuels cannot. Secondly, we must accelerate the transition to a fully renewable-based power sector by 2035. Thirdly, we must decisively eliminate support for oil and other fossil fuel and uphold the G7 commitment previous to phase out international support. The substantial funds currently allocated to fossil fuel subsides, we talk about 7.1 trillion of US dollar, must be redirected towards renewable energies investment, supporting vulnerable people, communities, countries through the transition. This is what we ask and what is necessary to do. So then funds are available, but should be deployed in the right way. In addition, the process needs to be led by meaningful implementation of the underpinning Agenda 2030 imperative of rights-based approach. This is the only paradigm that we think should lead our action. In the last 3 years, WeWorld, my organization, has made different surveys among thousands of European youth. All data reports that 2 out of 3 of youth are very seriously concerned about climate change, and more than 70% indicates governments and private companies having the main responsibility in preventing climate change. Only 1 out of 3 consider governments doing enough to induce private companies to reduce their climate impact. This is the voice of future generation, and this is what we have to keep in mind and back our activities. We therefore reiterate the crucial role that must be played by public institutions, and hope that the G7 will reaffirm this aspect, assuming as a duty-bearer guidelines and plans for just, equitable and inclusive transition, reshape public finance, including deep progressive global taxation. So, to give some elements to the relevant question that we heard at the beginning, to sustain transition and implement mandatory framework for private sector due diligence on human and environmental rights, according to the UN Guiding Principle of Business Human Rights and OECD guidelines. The European Union has just approved a new directive in this direction. Member states of G7 should pushing the international community in this same direction to ask and for a mandatory commitment of the companies towards the due diligence, respect to human rights and environmental rights. Furthermore, we navigate the crucial transition. We must reject a new season of neo-colonial extractivism and instead foster mutual supportive partnership with countries rich of fossil fuel but also critical mineral resources and raw materials. This is very relevant. Our efforts must be rooted in solidarity and collaboration. In conclusion, it's urgent to link the transition to a broadening of democratic process and the reaffirmation of multilateral, multi-stakeholder dialogue. Indeed, where the right orders should participate as a pivotal actor. In a context in which the group that have the weaker voice and power suffer most from the effect of climate change, we are witness a war increases in attacks and murders, violence against environmental activists. We have to take into consideration. Currently, we are under attack who oppose deforestation and extractive practices in the various non-EU and G7 countries, as well young Italian people, Germany people, and other activism in the heart of Europe. We have to consider also this aspect. They are increasingly criminalized when they strongly call for a change of pace and change of model of development, a civic pact. Together, and we wish to be included, and wish that the leaders of G7 join us. Let us seize the moment to embrace ambitious collaboration and unwavering dedication to fossil-free future. The time for the action is now, and the responsibility rests upon our shoulder to lead the way towards a more sustainable and equitable world. Thank you very much.